Yeah, man. Oh, thanks so much for reaching out. Yeah, I guess decades ago, I remember I used to have a bunch of tattoo artist magazines, and there was one and you interviewed Jeff Gogwe,
Right.
and that interview, it changed my whole career. So and it was the same for a few, but that was the one that stood out. So it's really
What
cool.
year was that? Do you remember?
Shit, man, it was like it would have been about 20 years ago, I think, or 18 years ago. I can't remember the year, but he
Okay.
said a few cool things in there about like just about like his mentality around the work that he presented to people, and the portfolio that he kept was small but powerful, and rather than showing everybody everything, he just showed people what he wanted to do. And that kind of was like the start of me kind of realizing I had to like really, I had to show people what I wanted to be as an artist, and yeah, so it was really cool, man. Like, and like
It was a real eye opener.
Yeah, and there was all the tattoo magazines, and they were all cool, but it was like a hot chick on the cover, and it was like whatever, and it was like kind of, like not like well, what's the word? It wasn't like silly, but like I feel like Tattoo Artist magazine was a lot more serious, and it was like the Bible, so it was really cool. Yeah.
Well, back then, it was more. There was no internet at the time.
Yeah,
right?
man. That was it, Yeah.
Yes, that was it. Listen, the space that you're in right now.
Yeah.
What is that? What is it? Is it always a gallery or?
It's never been a gallery, and it won't be ever again. Unfortunately, it's just a really really high end building that they rent it's the whole penthouse and the whole top floor, and they rent it out for parties and stuff.
Okay.
And it's fucking massive. It's probably about 400 square meters.
Wow, big.
Yeah, and it has a big balcony and stuff. I'll see if I can show you around.
Yeah, let's go around. Let's take a walk.
Okay, so
So
yeah,
you're in the penthouse now, huh?
yeah. So this is like you can see behind me the gallery, and then take you down the other end so you can see some of the work. So yeah, these are. It's kind of hard to get the scale, but they're massive,
Yeah, it's. What is that printed on?
Canvas.
Is it canvas?
Yeah,
Okay.
and then this is we got this cool balcony. See if we can keep reception.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah. That's
welcome to New Zealand, huh?
Yeah. And then the rest of the show is printed on photo rag, but the photo rag's really expensive to print. And yeah, this is like one of the biggest pieces in the show, and it's you can see it's a bit hard to see because of the perspex, but yeah, it's massive, man. Like look at his his hand compared to mine,
I can imagine just the glass covering must weigh a ton.
Yeah, it's really really expensive, but that's cool. And then along this wall is all smaller pieces. So I'll try and show you best I can. It's kind of like
everything from scratch, huh?
Yeah, and so all of these designs, like I created all of them just using models and props and photography and stuff, where we add a statement as you come in the door. And then yeah, so I guess the idea with these photos was to kind of, when people first come in the door, they might not even realize it's a tattoo,
When did this idea come into your head? When did I heard something that you started this project something like 8 years ago?
Yeah, it was about 8 years ago. 8 years ago, I was burning out on tattooing, and I had this sort of idea, like I was like, I did what every tattooist did, I think, and I was like, I'm I'm going to start painting a bit, and I'm going to have an exhibition about my, my paintings and kind of go about doing that. And then I started learning to paint, and I started sort of studying art history a bit, and I came up with a plan. I learned heaps about composition, and I started taking photographs of these people sort of telling this story, like a multi-figure composition, kind of based loosely off of like, Caravaggio's work. And then I was like, I'm going to do these paintings. But then in that time, I was burning out on tattooing, and I was sick of doing the same shit over and over again. And, I've done all the Bernini stuff. I'd done all the Caravaggio stuff. And I was just like sick of doing the same shit, and I was like, I want to make my own shit, and I want to make stuff from scratch. I want to create a legacy of my own work, So I started doing that and painting, and then it just kind of dawned on me, like I was like, why don't I just make tattoos like this? I could just get a bunch of models and costumes and props, and if I can photograph it, I can tattoo it, So
sure.
And I've always, like, for the last, I've been tattooing 21 years, and I've always taken photos of skulls and stuff to do tattoos, but I'd never like made, a big battle scene of people fighting and stuff from scratch. It just never crossed my mind that that was an option, and I think because of the time it would take and the, the work and that, it was hard to justify that level of commitment to it. But then I guess with going and diving into painting and realizing how much work these guys were putting into this work back in the day, like they were fucking doing autopsies on people and grave robbing and shit to make paintings, and traveling around the world, and they had all these dead animals around, like studying them, and just to understand, just to be able to create their art. And I was like, man, we're so lucky with Google and fucking all this shit. Like, I was like, if I got to go out and do some photo shoots, that's nothing. So I just started investing more time and love into creating the work from scratch. And that was the thing, because I was like, well, why can't I just have an exhibition about my tattoos? Why do I have to like become a painter or something to feel like a real artist? And in that, I realized that if I was going to have an exhibition about my tattoos, they needed to be really important, and I needed to build them all from scratch. And I needed to be really proud of them. They needed to be perfect, they needed to be complex narratives with like beautiful compositions. They couldn't just be like another fucking skull and some lace and, and not to take away from that. And I think that's an important part of people's careers, like and in painting, you'd call it a master study, when you like copy a Caravaggio's work, or you copy this is important, and it's a great way to learn, but like, that's not a legacy, so I think I wanted to make work that, one, I could display in this exhibition that I had this idea for, the body of work.
That's going down in the books.
Yeah, something that could, in 100 years, people will look back and be like, that's Matt Jordan's Rafter Medusa. Not that's Matt copied Theodore Gericault's Rafter Medusa, because like anyone can fucking do that, like I wanted to make shit from scratch with my own stories, like, and honor the greats. And like, so I guess the goal was to like, I say, I'm standing on the shoulders of giants, right? Peter Paul Rubens and Caravaggio, but at the same time, Carlos Torres and Jose Lopez, like, so it's like, if those sort of great LA black and gray artists, and if those great Renaissance painters had a baby with Matt Jordan.
Next to those guys, you are standing next to giants. And to get something at that level, it takes a lot of energy and a lot of creativity, no?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's been really cool. It's taken a lot longer than I could have imagined, but I think that's important too, like, and that's why the exhibition came out so good, because I did obsess over it for so long, and I wanted everything to be perfect,
Was it perfect for you?
Yeah, I think so. It was like,
That's smart.
I wanted it to be like a museum or like a, proper art gallery, and it has been, it's it's a little frustrating that I had to do it myself. Like, me and my wife and my family, and I've had some really amazing support from some tattoo companies like, Ghostline and Bishop Rotary and Inkies and stuff. They gave me some, and Dynamic and a couple other companies, Sullen as well. They all gave me support, like financially.
Financially, that's important. That place
Yeah,
must have been expensive to rent.
yeah, but we still had to take a mortgage out on our house to do this, So,
Really?
but like, if I was like an oil painter, or if I was another type of artist, my country would have supported me, you know. But as a tattoo artist, there's no support. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah.
There's the art cultural department of New
We have
Zealand.
like, there's this thing called Creative New Zealand, and they get millions of dollars of funding to help artists to put stuff like this on. But they don't recognize tattooing as an art form.
Really?
Yeah.
That's especially today in 2025.
Pretty fucked up.
Yeah, pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
It's been absolutely what I've seen so far is just mind blowing.
Yeah. I wish you could be here to see it. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm in Switzerland. You're in Auckland.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. Yeah.
How long has the show been running now?
We started in mid-October.
Right. Okay.
And it finishes up on Sunday, the 30th of November. Yeah, and then we're having a big grand conclusion party on the 2nd of December, so next Tuesday.
Right.
We're having a big party, and it's pretty cool. Like, we've got guys coming from around the world. Alberto's here from the Canary Islands. Carlos Torres from Long Beach, California. Like,
Cool.
yeah, they're all coming out. They're all coming out for the rap party. So, yeah.
What are you doing after the exhibition?
I'm gonna have a break.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need a rest for a little while, and then I'm gonna
do some fishing.
Do some fishing, hang out with my family. Get in the ocean a bit, and just have a bit of a relax, because it's been pretty big. It's been a big couple of years.
Okay.
Yeah.
How busy are you now?
I'm not as busy.
When you get back to work, do you have a lot of appointments?
Yeah, I've got enough work to sustain myself, but I put myself in such a niche.
You're so niche.
I put myself in such a corner, because my work takes so long. So a lot of people are like, I can get a back piece from such and such in 10 days. Why would I come to you and spend 20 days? And I'm like, well, it's cool. So it's made my workload smaller, but I've still got enough work to keep me very busy. Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. I think the people that are attracted to me and my work are people that like, that there's a certain type of person, I think, that sees my work and goes, yeah, that's what I've been waiting for. So, yeah, they're definitely attracted to that, the detail and the storytelling and all of that side of it. Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you another question. You've been there 2 months now. What was the turnout like?
It was some days were quiet and some days were crazy. And at the start, I was really worried, because I spent 8 years and hundreds of thousands of dollars doing this shit, and I was like, it's quiet. What the fuck have I done? And I was panicking, and I was telling my wife, and she was like, you can't measure the success of this on how busy one day is, or how busy it is. And I was it took me a while to process that, but then I guess over the time that we've been here, I've realized that one person will be more important than the next 100 that come through the door. Like we had one lady that came up and she was like 92 years old, and she spent hours like looking at all the work, walking around and sitting on the benches and studying everything. And then we had a talk at the end, and she was like, "Oh, this is like this looks a bit like Theodore Gericault's Raft of Medusa." And I said, "Yeah, I based it off of that, but I recreated it from scratch." And I showed her all my photographs that I made and stuff. And she goes, "But the water looks like Rembrandt." And I was like, "Yeah, I freehanded the water, but it's actually referenced from the Sea of Galilee by Rembrandt." And so she knew, like, she was like a scholar, and she knew all of the work. And she was 92 years old. And when she left, she said to my assistant, "Well, you guys changed my mind about tattoos," So for her to go her whole life hating tattoos and then having that stigma and that generational hatred, and to be able to walk in here and then leave going, this is good, this is important work, like that. So then in that moment I realized what my wife was trying to say, like this is important, and it's good, because it's because of those interactions, and we've had fucking hundreds of those, just people that have come in and been so taken back, and because I didn't know if anyone would like it, I didn't know if it would be good, I didn't know if it would be busy, but
well,
it's like,
my first thought, you're talking about your 92-year-old visitor, and she was a scholar. So as you say, she knew her shit. She knew what she was talking about. Excuse me. Probably gonna have to edit this one out. I just went on the mind blitz. Anyways, what I was saying was, I wanted to get back into. Do you have an artistic background? Do you have art school? Did you go to university?
No. I did not. I was terrible at school, and then I left when I was like 14, and I was dyslexic, and learning disability, all that stuff, speech impediment, all those things. So I left school really young, and I worked on a farm, and but my dad was a tattoo artist.
Was he?
Yeah.
Second generation?
Yeah, well, my dad was a tattoo artist, and he died when I was about 6 years old. So I always loved tattoos, and my dad, my mum was covered in tattoos, and my family were bikies and tattooists, and then my granddad my granddad wasn't a professional tattoo artist, but he was in the Navy, and he did all his own tattoos and his friends' tattoos, and so to have like a granddad like that was covered in tattoos, and then my dad being a tattoo artist, like it was just sort of, I guess, like it was always going to be what I ended up wanting to be. I loved it. Like I would always draw when I was a kid. I wasn't any good, but I drew my whole life. And then when I started tattooing when I was 18 in my bedroom, I got equipment from family friends. Like there was this guy, John Sparks, that had a shop with my dad back in Christchurch. So my dad was his mentor, and he got me my first like Mickey Sharp's machine and stuff, and I tattoo in my bedroom, tattoo all my friends and shit. And then I got an apprenticeship with Steve Johnson in Christchurch. He was down under tattoos. He was a pretty serious cat in New Zealand, big piece of our history in New Zealand tattooing. And I kind of apprenticed there, and then so I went.
How did you approach him to get that apprenticeship?
I just went in there and got tattooed and just pestered them, and eventually somebody left, and he was just like, "Well, this guy wants to get a tattoo. Can you do it?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." And I tattooed this guy, and he was like, "Yeah, all right, you got the job, And he just made me clean the shop and tattooed little walk-ins and clean up and just do all the normal apprentice shit,
Yeah,
it
cool.
was crazy. It was like proper old school apprenticeship. He even had me growing weed at one point, you know what I mean? Like,
Growing herb, right?
yeah, so it was, it was a proper old school,
How
kind
long
of
were you there?
a few years, yeah. And then I traveled
You
around,
smile. You have good memories of that, huh?
yeah. Well, it was hard, and we butted heads, but his wife was crazy, but he was a good guy, like, yeah, he was a
Yeah.
good guy. He passed away, so I wish it had ended on better terms because I got a lot of love for Steve, but yeah, his wife was fucking crazy. So probably don't put that in the interview. She'll sue me. Like, but yeah, and then I worked with some other cool people along the way, but I went about it that way. So I started in tattooing as just as a walk-in artist, and then I fell in love with like initially it was like Paul Booth, Robert Hernandez, um all those cats, Boris, and who else? It's Andy Engel from the
Yeah.
yeah, and then
All those people that you mentioned, they were all doing groundbreaking tattooing at the time
yeah, that
when
was
they became famous. So I'm from New York City myself. I've known Paul Booth when he first started tattooing.
yeah.
Uh, the stuff he was doing was mind blowing.
Yeah, it was insane. When in that time, when we had those magazines, and that was all we had, from being a kid in New Zealand, and like, every however many months we'd get these magazines, and we'd look at them for years, like, and we'd wait for Tattoo Artist magazine to come out, especially, and like to get those proper big in-depth interviews where people were like speaking from the heart, being philosophical, and really treating it like a proper art form. Like, that was the shit that got me, like, from being just like a
Street shop
walk-in
worker into
shop guy,
something.
like, I was like, what do I want? I was like, I want to be great, I want to be really fucking good at this, like, and I want to do shit that I'm real proud of. And I was like, what's the difference between me and these guys? And then I just started trying to close that gap, and I just kept trying and critiquing myself and pushing and asking for advice. When the internet came around was crazy though, because then, like, I remember somebody gave me a copy of a burnt copy of a DVD by Joshua Carlton, and he broke down the process of like how he did a realistic tattoo, and I watched that like 10 times, and that was just like a rocket under my ass, like, that changed everything. And then there was a few moments like that through my career that really influential people, when they gave me the time. Same with like Carlos Torres, like getting to the first time I went to London Tattoo Convention with Mickey, and I got to meet all those guys, because that was my first time leaving.
Surrounded by celebrity
Yeah.
almost.
Oh yeah, it was mind melting, like, to leave New Zealand as like a kid and get to go, like, I got invited to London Tattoo Convention because I was doing some pretty cool work, I guess. And Steve Marching, a New Zealand artist, amazing Polynesian work. He asked Mickey if he could. He was like, "Hey, there's this kid. He's pretty good. Can he come along?" So he took me to London, and I got to meet like all those guys. And then I remember Carlos Torres was like, I was like, "Hey man, I'm Matt Jordan. It's really nice to meet you." Bright red, embarrassed, like scared, nervous. And he was like, "Oh, you're that kid. I've seen those tattoos, those roses you did were fucking dope." And he was like, "Come and do a guest spot with me in Long Beach," you know. And then I got to go to LA, and I went and tattooed at the last Ink and Iron exhibition, and I did a tattoo there, and Tim Hendricks was judging, and I won, tattoo of the day, and he came over and was like, "Kids, like, that was awesome, like, just, and that was like when it just started, like snowballing." Yeah.
Well, getting compliments from Tim Hendricks is that's quite cool, huh?
Oh, man, it was such a dream come true to like get to meet those guys, and that I've looked up to forever, and then to like kind of get taken under like, you know, Carlos's wing and you know, Jose Lopez and all those dudes, and to get to meet them and them to be like, oh yeah, you know, like you're not, you know, you're in the fucking club now. I wasn't just like kind of looking up to them. They were like, we're friends now, you know, like you're one of the guys, and that was so special, you know, like yeah. So I'm very blessed, I guess, to be able to have done that. And it's just a weird trip because, like, you know, last thing I remember, I was looking at those magazines and, you know, just like being like, imagine that, you know, and now to be getting to do this interview is just fucking, it's pretty cool, man. Yeah.
Well, you've done the full trip. You've been around the block a few times. You're doing this now 21 years, right?
Mm,
So,
yeah.
and you're pushing yourself. Sometimes maybe do you ever think that you push yourself a little bit too hard?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. This last year nearly fucking broke me, you know, putting this show on and, you know, borrowing money up against my house and, you know, staying up all night stressing out about, you know, like, you know, it's massive, you know, like, and just trying to get all the work done on time and trying to learn how to be a photographer, trying
Yeah.
to,
What camera are you using?
I use like a Fuji GFX 100, a medium format digital camera.
Okay.
Yeah. To get the
Well,
print big enough, I had to dive into medium format stuff. Hey, one second. You can take off if you want, bro. I'm gonna be ages. Yeah. All right. Bye. Sorry.
so your assistant.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you're going, I guess you're still gonna keep everything up until the 6th of December, right?
The second of December. Yeah, that's the last day. Yeah,
Right.
and that's when we have our big closing party for the tattoo community. So we've got about, you know, we've invited a couple of hundred tattooists and their partners and stuff.
Wonderful. That's gonna be nice. I mean, we get to be surrounded also by a lot of friends, no?
Yeah, get to kind of celebrate and reminisce and, you know, see it off, like, you know, it's kind of like a funeral for it, you know, like, but also it's kind of like it's just the beginning as well in a way, I
Or
guess.
maybe like a New Orleans funeral where they're playing loud music and marching down the street, you know?
Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be cool. Yeah.
That's more like it. It's not like a sad funeral.
No, a good one. It's going to be a good one. Yeah, it's going to be fun. You know, like, and I don't think it's the end. You know, I think I hope that it's done. It's done everything I wanted it to, but I guess my hope for it next is that we get to take it around the world. You know, I'd really like to. I think obviously the easiest thing to do will be to take it to California because that's where Black and Grey's from.
Okay.
And to honor that and to get to show people in LA and, you know, California and stuff. I'd like to put it in a gallery there, and then from there hopefully we can take it to Europe. But I want to get a real special old building, you know, so but you know, that's long term over the next few years, you know. Yeah.
So you have a lot of traveling planned for the next few years.
Hopefully, you know,
Hopefully.
but I need to sell that though, you know. I need somebody to want to support that because I can't do it on my own, you know.
TAM's supporting it right now because
Yeah, you
I'm
got
going
this.
to tell you something. When I first saw the space that you opened up and the first few pictures and videos you were putting out on Instagram, I was blown away.
Yeah,
I think you should give yourself a good pat on the back for that one.
yeah.
You've worked hard, and I believe it's going to be successful.
Oh
I
yeah.
believe it'll be successful once you get on that world tour.
Yeah. Oh yeah, hell yeah. Well, like, you know, already, you know, having you've reached out and well, like you know, Raking Light.
Excuse me?
You know, Raking Light Project in America.
Yes.
They make all the books and stuff. So they offered to make a big jumbo book about it, you know, and that won't be for a year or two, but like, so we'll get to do that, like a big hardback book, and hopefully I think we'll get to take it around the world. My dream is to take it to to LA, maybe somewhere cool in Europe, and maybe Japan eventually. So
I was just thinking Japan would. I wonder what kind of an acceptance it would be publicly for people who are not into tattooing, because tattooing in Japan is still looked with one eye open and one eye closed.
yeah. Well, yeah, I know what that feels like. So I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be, and I think it's good timing, because with the law change, and with it becoming kind of a bit more above ground. So, but that's my plan for the next several years. Is hopefully we
what about locally? What's happened in the last 2 months? You get visited by any TV shows, or different?
Like the big New Zealand newspaper, the Herald, did like a big article on it, and I had a guy earlier today from like a company that a news outlet that specializes in like business and entrepreneurship. They came and did a big article, and came in and did a big interview this morning. And who else? There was another one the other day. Oh, and then there was a guy and a professor that wrote a book on intellectual property and stuff, and he came up and he fell in love with it, because he was like, this is such a unique case of intellectual property where I've gone about spending 8 years making these tattoos from scratch, as to avoid because I couldn't just like do a tattoo of a photo of the internet and then have an exhibition and be like, come look at my artwork, because that's not your intellectual fucking property. So that was a big part of this, was like I had to make everything from fucking scratch.
You know what? I love those two words that you've been pointing out the whole time: from scratch.
Yeah.
Right from just starting out, right from the basics, and building up something beautiful.
Yeah, man. That's definitely, that's the essence of the important part of this is, like I was saying, it's a trip, when people come through and look at the show and we explain it to them, they're like, oh, these are cool. Are these tattoos? And it's like, yeah, these are tattoos. And they're like, that's cool. And I'm like, you see that horse? Like I took that photo of that horse, the guy riding it, like, see that guy getting bitten by a dog? I took that photo of that guy getting bitten by a dog, I was there I made all of that just so that I could make that tattoo, just so that I could make this exhibition, just so that you could come look at it. And, and that took 8 years, so like people are like, oh, holy shit,
Well,
yeah.
The one piece there with the guy on the cross, right? We had about 6 or 7 people there, all positioned. I forget the back piece. Excuse me.
There's one, might be the. Hang on, I'll go see. Take you back over there. Do you mean this one, maybe?
No. No, there's actually, in the picture there was a ladder. Somebody standing on a ladder.
This one,
yes.
Yeah. That
was cool. When I saw that, I was just like, wow, fuck, what's going on? Is he making a movie?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's like directing, right? Or choreographing,
Yeah, it was completely choreographed photo for something, another medium of art, where you're taking a photograph and turning it into something completely different that's not on paper but on skin.
Yeah, and then there's a big part of it as well, where like that photograph was great, but the tattoo is a lot different, because I do a lot of embellishment, and like I freehand all of the water and stuff in. And if you see the one like of Odin and the tree, I freehanded the tree and the water and everything, like I can draw, like it's, like I've been tattooing a long time, and I've done my time. I guess in that, like, that's where, like, it's really cool because what I learned in all that time in the street shop, and what I learned, through kind of studying and practicing and all sorts of different tattoos, like, it all kind of culminates into, like, like this, special thing, where it's like, the hard work has paid off, and I'm proud of the work,
Yeah. It was I'm truly impressed. I'm truly impressed, Matt.
Thank you, man. It means a lot.
Well, I think there's a lot of people out there who are blown away by your tattooing. How many people do you get to come all the way from another side of the world to New Zealand to get tattooed by you?
Not a heap, but like, I only need a few clients because the work takes a long time. So, if I've got 10 back pieces on the go, like, that's 200 days work, like, so, like, that'll keep me busy for a long, so it, like I said, like, a lot of people shy away from the, because of the time involved. And a lot of people these days, especially, are like, they're looking for that quick fix, So it takes a special kind of person to want to actually stick it out and get one.
Be dedicated. They got to be dedicated. They're getting something for their whole life.
Yeah, they got to be dedicated, not medicated, not fucking sleeping and getting the tattoo for one day by fucking 6 terrible artists. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, this is I think it is like, my goal is to, how much time can I put into a tattoo? Like, how perfect can I make the design, and then how perfect can I make the tattoo? And it doesn't matter how long it takes, because my goal is to create something that I'm really proud of. But, like, I think the problem is that a lot of the world's going the other way, and they're like, everyone wants convenience, so you chuck a bit of a prompt into the AI swap generator and you get a back piece design, and then you get them to put you under anesthesia, and then you get 6 artists who'll go at it and give you some fucking half-ass shit that's, like, it's just, I don't know, man. Like, it's, yeah. So.
I'm actually, I'm going to tell you something. I'm not fond of technology. I'm not fond of artificial intelligence. It really kind of sucks in a way. I just saw recently a video clip of 14 to 16-year-olds at a workshop, a work fair, where they're learning. They had the opportunity to look at different careers opportunities, and the one reporter had an analog clock in his hand, and the clock was set at 8 minutes after 10. And out of 40 kids that were interviewed, only 3 of them got it right.
Yeah.
Really. That's not a good sign for the future, to tell you honestly.
No, yeah, no, it's scary. So, but I think I got real sidetracked there, but I guess the essence of, like, all that is, like, there's always going to be people that are going to appreciate the work, the hard work. Some people want good stuff, and some people want nice things. I'd much rather buy, a handmade table that somebody spent a lot of time making and a lot of love for my house, for my family to sit at to have meals, so that we could remember those meals fondly. And, like, I think there's some people out there that still want more. Yeah, I don't want to buy some fucking, Temu fucking knockoff, like click clack shit. I want to buy artisan, things. And I think there's enough people out there that will, and maybe there'll be a resurgence of people that are like, it's pretty cool to have something that's handmade, and something that's important. So, and I think that's why my work resonates with people. That's why if you go and, you look at the comments, and it's generally like, oh shit, yeah, like, this makes me want to work harder. This makes me, it's inspiring. But
how many people how many tattooers do you come up to you, like, and or contact you and say, well, how do you do that? You got artists contacting you and looking for the secrets?
Yeah, I'm pretty open about it, you know, like I put it all over the internet. I'm just like, oh, the secret is lots and lots of hard work, you know, and being open to actually being honest with yourself and being critical of your work and 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 you know, taking the time to try and get better at it, you know, rather than just, you know, coming into work at fucking 10 a.m. and like grabbing some pictures off the internet and doing a back piece. Like,
Let's get into aspect.
yeah,
When you're tattooing, you're that far hand distance away, you know, arm distance away while you're tattooing. Do you ever stop and have the customer stand up and walk back 4 or 5 meters and take a different look at it? You do
yeah,
that often?
yeah. I do that sometimes every half hour, sometimes every hour, depending on what part I'm working on. Sometimes I don't need to if it's like a common sense sort of simple area, but for sure, like there's a lot of like hop back, look at it, and also like I build the piece up. Like I'll generally the way I'll do it is, say if I was doing your back, we would do 3 or 4 days and map the whole thing out, and then we would let it heal for like 3 to 6 months, and then we would go over the whole thing again and again. You know, I'll go over a back piece 3 times, you know, at least, you know, before it's like built up to the final product. And
Okay.
you know, I treat it like a painting, and you know, the time in between and the standing back and looking at it to, you know, and also like, you know, while I'm tattooing, I'll actually have a photo of where it was at last time, you know, when you come in. So I'll have a
Okay.
photo of the healed.
What you've done up till
Yeah,
then?
yeah, and I'll compare that to my reference and look for places where it looks better or simpler, or where it looks like it needs more work. And I spend a lot of time studying and analyzing and critiquing my own work to make sure that, you know, I like to say I treat it like I'm covering up someone else's work, or I'm reworking some shit that somebody else done. You know, like I'll look at it and be like, right, look at this piece of shit. You know, how can I
Yeah,
make it better? You know,
all the old masters. I mean, there's always being a piece of artwork that's 200 or 300 years old, and they're discovering that there was actually artwork underneath the artwork,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
So that's
yeah,
it. You know, like you got to be able to do that. You know, because otherwise, if you just look at your tattoo and go, "Fuck, that's pretty good," you know, then like, you know, you're not gonna get better in a hurry. You know, like, yeah, yeah. I don't know. So there's a lot of standing back and looking and just being real honest with where the tattoo is at and what it needs. How can we make it better? Yeah.
okay. What do you think about your own your own I don't want to say the wrong word, um the appeal? How much of an appeal is there for this? Do you
Uh,
understand what I mean?
yeah. I think that I get a lot more interaction from other artists than I do from clients. I
Okay.
think I think tattooists fuck with what I'm doing, but like on a grand scale, like clients are looking for something faster and cheaper than what I do.
The iPad.
Yeah, yeah,
Anything that's made on the iPad.
yeah. They're looking for the
Puzzle pieces.
they're
This
looking
is
for
some.
the lion with the pocket watch and the blue eyes. You know what I mean? Like, and that's cool, but like, I think there's always going to be enough people that like really nice things that are willing to come to me and spend the time. It's like, a lot of people go and buy a Toyota Corolla, but not everyone will save up and buy a fucking, a beautiful old unique car, that costs a lot more, but it's a lot more craftsmanship in building it. What I do takes a long time. So, but it's okay because the people that I attract are fucking awesome. My clients are magic, like, and I don't have to deal with people that are like beating around the bush or haggling or, like, being a pain in the ass. Like all my clients are fucking awesome. I love them, because they're
I can
dedicated,
only imagine, because somebody who's taking on such a long project, they must be really dedicated.
Yeah,
So
that
that
takes
helps
years.
a lot.
It takes years, and but the proof's in the pudding, like, that's why these tattoos, are what they are. It's just the only way to. I've tried to do it faster. The only way to do it is to invest that time. Yeah.
Is your back tattooed?
No, I actually went to get my back tattooed a year ago or 2 years ago, but I was going to get a Maori back piece, like
Okay.
like traditional native New Zealand,
Right.
Aotearoa, tāmoku, but I ended up getting my puhuru instead, which is like the pants,
Okay.
I'll show you, like fucking
Come on, strip. Oh wow. On the ass. Well, that felt good, huh?
yeah, it was shit. So I got that instead of my back, and it took five days in a row. So, but it was cool. So I'm
I
getting my
think
back.
that's the only place that I have no tattoos is on my cheeks.
Yeah. No, yeah. They do the puhuru over 5 days, and on the first day they do your butt. They do your cheeks on the first day, because that way if you tap out, you don't get to get the legs. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And
I,
then
I, I saw some tattooing below on your left leg there, portrait.
yeah,
Who's doing that work?
that was a guy called Q Tattoo he's from Korea, but he lives in America now.
Okay.
Yeah.
It looks like some nice work there.
Yeah, it's cool. Otis Redding.
How much room do you have left on your body besides your back?
I've just got my stomach and my back left, so I'm getting my back done this year, and it'll wrap around on, because my puhuru will come around onto my stomach, and it'll take up my back as well. So that'll be cool.
Okay.
So
That's all done by hand, huh?
Yeah, this winter, hopefully, I'm gonna smash it out, and I can I feel like a real man after that. I think you feel tough after that. It's good though. Getting
Well,
my
I mean,
getting
that's
my puhuru done 5 days in a row. It may, because I tattoo a lot of people for 5 days in a row, so I think it's important that I went through that so that I can
know
I
what
can
somebody else is feeling. Yeah, sure. Well,
yeah.
it's just like I've never been tattooed by somebody who's had no tattoos.
No, that'd be fucking wild. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just something. I think that if it's just like a blacksmith, if a guy throwing horseshoes on at the farms, if he
Yeah.
hasn't been kicked by a horse once or twice, I don't want him touching my horse.
Yeah. Hard out. Yeah. No,
So, has your wife been in Auckland with you the whole time, or has she been staying at home?
she was at home for most of the time, and then she's been here with me this last week. Yeah.
Okay. How far is this away from your house?
4 hours.
Whew,
Yeah. So
it's a long ride.
yeah, I don't go home. I haven't been home much. I went home a couple of the weekends, but like for the most part, I've just been down here the whole time. Yeah.
Okay. Been down there by yourself, or?
Yeah. I have my assistant and my apprentice that have been helping out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who,
And then
who does the videos that you produce on Instagram?
my friend Shay Logan, he's an incredible videographer.
I was just about to say, really talented guy.
Yeah, he's working on it. He's working on making a documentary about this whole thing. So hopefully, hopefully next year we'll have a half-hour documentary, kind of diving into this a bit more and explaining, how much fucking work went into it.
There's been a lot of work into it. Not only just your tattooing, your photography, but there's a lot of people in the background doing a lot of stuff for you. Huh?
Oh, we got a massive team. My wife, my son, my father-in-law, my mom, my whole family, and my friends. And all the guys in all the people in those tattoos. Like models, friends, tattooists. I couldn't have done this without the support of this massive, family of, people.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way I could have done this on my own. And like I said again, about those guys that like Ghostline and fucking and Bishop and fucking Stalin and all
Consider,
that.
consider yourself a very fortunate person to have all these people around you.
Oh yeah, no,
Uh,
to have them believe in me and what I'm doing. I'd be fucking screwed without them.
how do you feel right now? I mean, you're close to a couple of days of closing down, and you must be feeling pretty damn good at the moment, no?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, at the start, I was so scared, like and nervous, But now I'm very happy. I'm very like I feel fulfilled. I feel like my cup is full. I feel super grateful, proud, tired.
Yeah.
Um, like but it's a very even mix of ready to have a break and sad that it's going to be over. Yeah, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
It feels like it feels like losing someone, or something. It feels But I know that it's good, and
Oh, you've got plans to bring it around the world, and I
yeah,
look forward to seeing that.
it's just this space, and this is like in its infancy, and I know, but it's like to have this building and the way that we've set it up, doing it all ourselves on this grand scale, is like I know I'll get to do things again, but I'll never get to do this again. And it's just been such a magical experience. The people that have come through, the conversations that I've had, as an artist, getting to see people come in and sit and look at your work and fucking tear up and just like to have that visceral reaction from seeing your art and then coming and being super proud of me and talk and just showing and telling me, how proud they are of me and this work, and strangers, and just being like, that's a fucking trip, man. Like it's been so intense, Yeah.
Is there something that's going to top this in your career? Do you
Oh,
think
surely.
you'll be able to top it?
All right, you if you're not looking back at things and going, I could have done that better, then what's the point? Like,
There you go.
like,
Strive for perfection.
yeah, and just strive to, like we can.
Do you believe in perfection?
No, I think it's just, nothing's perfect, and and art's subjective, so it's like, somebody might hate this, I'm proud
Yeah,
of it. I think it's good work. I think I've done a good job, and I'm looking at it, and I'm happy, but I know that I can do better,
that's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah, and I've got I've got more plans and more things, but I just I guess I hope that this and it's done what I needed it to for me. I've enjoyed the project. It's been beautiful and emotional and real, but I hope it encourages people to do more as well. Like other tattooists to get out there and have.
Is there a project right now that's burning out or been put on the side that something that you really want to do they've not yet done yet? Is there something that you want to that something that you've not been able to grasp yet?
I want to push the designs further and to do some if I could find some people I'd love to do a real cohesive like full body suit of like one big scene, but it's hard to get people willing to commit to one idea, like because they want to tell lots of stories. So having
Okay.
something that I could do like just a full body suit with one scene on the whole thing would be really cool. And then as far as the exhibition stuff goes, I think my goal is to break down that barrier between tattooing and fine art and have this in a proper gallery somewhere.
You'll find that out, and you'll find that in the United States. There's different. I think there's different attitudes.
Yeah.
There's Ed Hardy. He's done some really successful shows.
Yeah.
And
So that's what I want. Yeah, that's what I want. I want to get taken seriously in the art world. Not even because it matters a fuck. I don't care a fuck what they think, but I know that we as tattooists we deserve it. Like, and I want them to, I want to see those people stop pretending we're not here and and just um and just come and open their eyes and see what we've done. And not just me. There's hundreds, thousands of amazing tattooists around the world that should be getting recognition in
more
art.
recognition
Yeah,
in
and
our
less
world.
segregation and separation. Like honestly, like I could give a fuck because I don't like I don't hold much stock in their reasoning. I think that they're just being naive, and it's funny. Like I've had people say to me, really smart people, I hate tattoos, but I like yours, you know, and I said to this one guy, he said to me, this really really smart, really profound guy that has this massive art collection, I hate tattoos, but I love yours. And I was like, well, that means you love tattoos. And he can, no, I don't. And I was like, yes, you did, and that, and I just changed, it's just like, I don't know. It's just
Well,
redundant. It's an
a lot of people, if they're not tattooed, they're most of the time the first tattoos that they usually see are poorly done tattoos, and they're like, well, that's kind of ugly, and that looks like a dirty mark on their arm or something. And maybe these are where they get these ideas that tattooing is really not artwork, or it's really not. Yeah, maybe that's the reason for the lack of acceptance.
Yeah,
I
for
believe.
sure. But and then same thing, like you could buy a shitty like live life love thing from a store for your house, or you can buy a fucking you can buy a beautiful original oil painting. This it's a spectrum. Like, but I think it's just naive to not um come and enjoy this art that we make, and and to accept it as art. So yeah, but also that means we have to do things like this exhibition. I think as an industry or a community or as an art form, like we need more of this. People should be having exhibitions and celebrating their life's work, and showing people that we're here, and this is what we're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's you have the right attitude. Definitely have the right attitude. It's people like you who further the cause, and it's a lot of dedication.
Yeah.
Those reading glasses,
Yeah, they're fucking filthy too.
mine are always filthy. I actually I've been wearing glasses now for about 12 years.
Yeah.
I've got one pair of glasses just for tattooing. They sit
Yeah.
in the top drawer in the case. I've got two pairs of glasses for driving, one at day, one at night, sunglasses and clear glasses. And for the phone, I've got my regular daily wear glasses, which I'm wearing now. And for the computer, which glass case is empty.
Yeah.
I've got my computer glasses, so I've got 4 or 5 different sets of glasses that I need in my daily life. I hate
Yeah.
glasses,
It's
especially
crazy.
when they're dirty.
Yeah, mine are getting worse and worse. But I got these ones are cool. They're like they're bifocal, so I can tattoo with them, and I can drive with them. And then when I go outside, they turn into sunglasses as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but
Okay.
they go dark brown in the sun. The only pain in the ass is in the car. They don't turn into sunglasses. So I'll be in the car and it's like sunny airs, and they fucking, they don't go dark. So yeah, I gotta get.
They don't go dark. Oh shit!
Yeah, they're
What
good
kind
though.
of car? What kind of car are you driving?
I got a just like a just a normal I drive around day to day in like a Toyota Corolla, but I got lots of old cars too, you know.
Gee,
Yeah, old. I like old Japanese. I like old American cars too, but I used to have like a Fleet Line and an Impala and stuff. But now I've got like old Toyotas from the '80s and stuff.
okay.
Yeah,
You're a Japanese car
yeah,
fan, huh?
yeah. Big Japanese car fan. Yeah, yeah.
What else do
Love.
you collect besides cars?
What do I do? You know, I guess a lot of cars, and you know, like fishing is a big part of it. You know, hobbies wise, I like bodyboarding. Yeah, fishing and yeah, cars. That's the main
What do you
thing.
fish for?
We fish for snapper, like red snapper in New Zealand a lot, and then what else? Big yellowfin. What do you call it? Yellowtail. We call it kingfish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it like a tuna?
No. Like yellowtail. They call it in America. Hang on, I'll find a picture. Like this
Okay.
yellowtail, and then we get nice big snapper here, which is like
Red snapper?
yeah, like it looks like this. Yeah,
Wow. That's a big one.
catch them off the beach.
Really?
Sometimes, yeah, and sometimes off the boat too, you know. But they're pretty cool. Um, oh, that's a real big one there. That was about 18 pounds.
What do they taste like?
Delicious. Real white, real light white flesh, nice and fatty. Just beautiful. Yeah, beautiful eating fish. Yeah. And then
What about
the
what
yellow.
about shellfish? You a shellfish fan?
Yeah, we get like abalone in New Zealand we call it pawa. Pawa is like our real special shellfish.
Okay.
And we have massive scallops and huge mussels and yeah, all that stuff. I had some friends the other day from Santa Cruz, and I took
Yeah.
them for. We went for a drive out around the beach and parked up, lit a fire, waited for low tide, and I went down and got like a big thing of mussels. We call it a kutai. They're like like this big, and then I steamed them all open on the fire in a pot with some seawater and some butter,
You're
and we
making
just
me hungry. It's only 6 o'clock in the morning here.
man, and we were just sitting there eating these fresh mussels I just pulled off the rocks, and they were just like, "This is fucking crazy," you know. And I was just like, "This is pretty normal for us." It's like, we're lucky, you know. We live somewhere so special, you know. It's really
Yeah,
beautiful.
I'm living in Switzerland and it's landlocked. And this country, the quality of life living here is absolutely amazing. It's really clean. There's not a lot of crime here.
Yeah,
But what's missing is the salt water. The
yeah,
salt
man.
water and more sunshine.
I feel
I
crazy.
love
Yeah,
fishing
yeah,
because the thing is, when you're saltwater fishing, you never know what you're going to pull up.
yeah, it's
Never
crazy.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. You know, we're targeting those snapper and stuff, but like sometimes other fish will just turn up, you know, like or we've been out there like fishing and then for snapper and shit and a marlin just turns up all lit up smashing bait fish and you're just like what the fuck is happening, you know, like is a big mako shark or like
Okay. You got a
yeah,
lot of sharks in New Zealand?
yeah, there's enough, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
we got white pointers and all that, like yeah, great whites here, and so yeah, they're around. The ocean's got no walls, so they just
Yeah.
they're hanging around. It's always a bit scary when when you're swimming, like but yeah.
You have pets at home?
Yeah, my wife's a big and we both are, but we have 4 dogs. She's a dog trainer.
Okay.
And
Cool.
then we have like chickens and ducks and stuff as well. Yeah.
Chickens and ducks, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, we
Who
we got a
feeds, who
little
feeds them? Your better half?
yeah,
Is
my
that what
wife.
that-
So we got a big veggie garden and all the little farm, so lots of eggs and but all that stuff and yeah, it's nice. We live on like 13 acres in in the middle of nowhere, and we got our little
You're isolated.
little studio there, and people fly in and stay with us, and yeah.
Okay. How far do you have to drive till you get to the closest shopping center?
Oh, there's a shop just down the road, but they're little, We live in like a one-horse town,
Okay.
So there's like a little store where you can go and get, all your essentials like 5 minutes away. But
what's the next major city? Where would somebody fly in to get to you?
oh, there's an airport half an hour away from us in a place called the Bay of Islands.
Okay.
Bay of Islands, yeah. Kitty Kitty is the name of the place, but then yeah, that the airport's half an hour away. So basically, like if you were going to get a tattoo from me, you'll fly to Auckland, New Zealand,
Right.
and then you get a connecting flight to the Bay of Islands, which only takes about half an hour, and then we pick you up from the airport. We give you a car, we give you free accommodation, feed you, and you just come stay with us for the whole week and get tattooed for a few days.
Right.
And
what do your sessions last for? How many hours usually?
We just do like 10 till 5, nothing crazy. Some people do a bit longer. Some people do like 10 till 7, but normally like 10 till 5, and yeah. That's
What about numbing creams and stuff like that?
Yeah, I use a little bit of Bactine. I'll use numbing cream on certain people if they've done enough, but only if some people don't need it. Some people are like hypersensitive and their skin swells up and it's more inflammation and they're a lot more like hypersensitive, genuinely. Like some people just fucking hurt more than others, and like I've got like some clients that have done like 20 plus days of tattooing, and then they get to a point where they're just like dying, and I'm like, fucking all right, let's try this cream. But I don't like using it because I think it's like if it's like preloading the skin with all of this moisture, right? And it's hard to do a really good job if the skin's not in really good condition, and I just I don't think it helps the healing process and the density and the darkness and the the sharpness and all these things, like it's kind of like you think of like if you're painting a car and the prep's not really good, then the paint's going to fall off eventually, so we should try and do our best.
Avoid it.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, I avoid it. I avoid it for the most part, basically. Only in extreme circumstances.
I've always been the type of person where I've gotten into a session, and instead of hurting more, I was able to take it more. It was you get into the fourth and fifth hour, and you've gone through so much pain already. Another half hour or an hour is not going to kill you. That was always my mindset.
Yeah.
I've gone the max I've gone through straight was 7 hours, and that was it for me. I was hammered. Couldn't do nothing.
Like I've got one guy that did like, I think he did like 8 days or something. Like I think we did 5 days and then we had a day off and then he did 3 more days. And I was like a fucking maniac,
Well, and how many hours a day? 6 hours a day? 7?
No, we were doing 10 till 7. So we were doing like, like what's that? Fucking heaps, basically like a 9-hour day, And
what about you? All these, the customers dealing with the pain and stuff. What about you physically and mentally tattooing for so many hours in one day?
No, I told him, I was like, I can't do that anymore, man. Like, I only want to do like, 4 days, and then we have to have a couple of days off, and then you could do some more days because like my focus and my brain and, the fatigue
is what I was thinking,
Yeah. I used to, when I was young, I'd do like 11 days in a row, like tattooing 10, and and I'd tattoo like 12 hours a day. Yeah. So no,
how old are you now?
39.
39.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm
The kid.
62.
Yeah.
Yeah, born in 1963.
Yeah.
The days of black and white TV.
Yeah. So no,
Yeah.
I'm just a spring chicken. Yeah.
For a spring chicken, you've grown up to a rooster in
Yeah.
my eyes. Yeah. You know, when I first came to Basel, when I first came to Switzerland, I was living in Basel. And there's a mythical dragon rooster. It's called the basilisk, and it's part dragon and part rooster. And the story is that they're only born when a rooster lays an egg. Uh, the basilisk is it's one of these. I'm pretty fucking brain dead right now. I'm telling you, I'm still tired.
You're good.
Man,
It's okay, man.
what else do I want to touch into here? 1 second. Let me look over here. There we go. Open up. Yeah, we've gotten into your hobbies and stuff. Yeah, so you did an apprenticeship. You said that lasted a few years. You know,
Yeah.
we've got the internet now, and there's online tattooing courses, and there's tattoo schools. Do you think any of that can replace a real, true apprenticeship?
Um, I think it creates a false sense of confidence and arrogance and entitlement. You hear a lot of these, like young, for one, there's just so many people tattooing now. So like, if you
Oh,
want to be successful, then you're gonna have to stand out. And there's a lot. I don't know how to. There's so much to say. Like there's a lot of like sensationalism and there's these kids that are like they're learning from some tutorials and they're self-taught, but then they have this like I don't need the old school and this kind of arrogance and or like kind of like almost like spite for the old way rather than having some fucking respect, you know? And I think that it's problematic because if you build a career on like a fad or on a level of hype around one style of tattooing and you can't sustain or once that fad's gone, what are you going to do if you don't know how to do anything else? For
okay.
one, and or like if and like it, and are you really going to be able to have a career that you can be proud of? Like if you haven't been through the trenches and done the work and honored the old school and done your time and learned everything there is to know, about all the different styles and shown respect to them and studied the masters, like if you haven't done all of those things, like there's going to come a point where you just don't fucking matter, like, and you're going to have to eat humble pie and realize that, like I think tattooing's special, and I think that there's a lot of parts of it that are special, there's like how that we say, saying with I'm standing on the shoulders of these giants, right?
You're breaking up.
And it's not just the
Can we
black
go?
and gray
Can we go
guys,
back
like
on
it's
that?
because of
Matt, I didn't.
Yeah, of course.
Well,
You know, can you hear me?
keep on breaking up. The connection's bad.
Okay. Wait,
Peace.
can you hear
I
me okay
can
now?
hear you now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess, without being able to honor all of those things or know all of those things, and like I was saying, we stand on the shoulders of giants, but like it's not just, those black and gray guys that I love, like I love Ed Hardy, I love, like Shige
Go back
and
earlier. Go back to guys like Sutherland McDonald's, who were years
yeah.
way ahead of the times.
Yeah, well, in New Zealand we had, there was Mick Sweeney and there was, Roger and Gypsy and Steve Johnson and my dad, Bats, like all these tattooers, that if it wasn't for all of those guys and what they did and, and
Before
yeah, before,
and open the doors.
yeah, and traditional and fine line and and black and gray and Irizumi and all these things, tattooing's fucking magical, and there's so many layers to it. So if you come into it as like, I'm just gonna watch some videos online, I'm gonna learn how to do this thing that's in fashion at the moment, like fuck off, like you're not gonna have my respect, and
Has tattooing ever been illegal in New Zealand?
no, because it was in New
No.
York, right?
In New York, it was actually a big reason why I stay in Switzerland, because when I came here in '89, tattooing in New York City was illegal.
Was it because of the AIDS epidemic, or?
That was because of a law that they passed back in the early '60s because of hepatitis.
Hepatitis, right? Yeah.
And it's funny, you talk about hepatitis now here in Switzerland. In the last 5 years, the percentage of people with hepatitis in Switzerland was raised to close to 5%. And they were kind of like saying, is this because of all the people tattooing at home with no idea of hygiene and cross-contamination? So I think about that, yeah. And this is something that I am more concerned about, not only as a tattoo artist, but is something that everybody should be concerned about, is health and hygiene of these people who have a credit card, they have internet connection. The next day they have tattoo equipment, and 2 days later they open up a studio, or they're saying, hey, come to my house and I'll tattoo you. But they don't have a clue cross-contamination or, bloodborne, airborne pathogens and stuff like that. I'm a little bit more concerned about that, instead of just, these people wanting to become rock stars in the tattoo world.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
I'm a little bit more concerned about that.
Yeah, that's spooky for sure, man. And yeah, I don't know. It's a crazy, but I don't want to take away from, like if because like I started at home, like, and a lot of the great artists did, like, so I just think that, what I like when kids come to me and say, I want to be a tattooist, do you have any advice? My advice is always the same. Do you want to do it forever? Do you want to commit your whole life to this? And do you want to love this and make it your passion, and put it at a very close second behind your family? Because that's what you need to do. Otherwise, don't bother. If you just think you want to have a go at this, don't start. You need to want to do this. You need to have both feet in.
You have to have dedication.
Yeah,
it's that I always call. When I was starting it, and people ask me, well, why being a tattooist? I said, listen, first of all, you have to dream it, you have to shit it, you have to eat it 24/7. You
Yeah.
know that when I toured a lot all over the world with bands. I was in the military. I was all over the world. Anytime that I got to a new city, the first place I went to was the local tattoo shop. I
Yeah.
wasn't worried about checking, sound check or shit like that. I was going to the tattoo shop and checking out the tattoo shop.
Yeah.
That was my first place to go.
Yeah.
That was more important than eating sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how you had this. You have to live it. You have to dream it. You have to read it. You have to think about it, and constantly go up one more level. There's so much
Yeah.
to learn. There's so much to
Totally.
learn. I
Yeah.
was at a tattoo convention, local. It's not too far away. Most of the artists there were none. I don't think any of them were tattooing more than 10 years. I watched 6 or 7 of them set up to start doing a tattoo, and not a single one of them had a loop in their hand to check their needles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't use no magnifying glass to check their needles. You know what a hook needle does? The only thing that does make chop meat. Doesn't make no tattoo.
Yeah.
I just think of that hook. You look at that under the loop, and you see that needle's hooked. And if you can imagine that going in and out of the skin,
Yeah. It's
whoo,
yeah.
crazy.
No good.
But this is something that I don't think that people learn in schools, in tattoo schools, or in online courses. They're looking at the needle going into the skin and the before and after pictures, but
Yeah.
they're the technical part. There's so much technical things about tattooing.
Yeah, man, for sure. There's a lot to it. But yeah, I guess I get that a lot too. Like, people ask me, like, what are these tattoos gonna look like in 10 years or 20 years, because my work's quite detailed, and so I have
But
to think about that a lot.
it's done on a large scale basis.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
totally. Yeah. But it
it
is
is
still,
detailed, but it's done on a large scale basis. It's going to hold up over time. We
yeah,
hope,
right.
right?
Yeah, and we can revisit it and keep working on it. I had when I was at Gods of Ink with a couple of years ago in Germany, and we won the me and my client won the black and gray category, and I got to talk to Philip Liu for a bit, and I was like, I appreciate that you guys chose my tattoo, and there was a lot of good tattoos there, so I was like, I just wanted to say, like, I know it's pretty detailed and fiddly for your taste, and so I just wanted to, and I started trying to justify it, and he was
You
like,
told them
"Oh,
that,
man."
huh?
Yeah. And he was like, "Matt," he's like, don't even worry about it. He was like, you don't have to justify anything to me. And he showed me this tattoo on his arm that um his dad had done, and he goes, dad did this tattoo 20 or 30 years ago or something, and it was a lion, like a fine line, black and gray lion, and it was still so cool. It was really beautiful. It wasn't perfect anymore, and it wasn't brand new, but he goes, this tattoo's old, but it's still really fucking cool. And he goes, one day your tattoos, they're going to be old, but they're going to be really fucking cool, Matt. Like, and that was super cool, to hear that from Philip, and those guys, and to get that, I guess reassurance that I don't need to keep fucking justifying my work. I just need to keep doing it. And
Yeah, there you
yeah,
go.
no, it was cool, man. Yeah, and I've noticed, like, there's this really cool thing as well, like, where with my work is like, in 5 years' time and 10 years' time, it all gets a bit softer, it all gets a bit lighter, and then I get to sharpen it up and layer it up, and it's like the special thing that can only happen in time, where I can get an even more complex level of like layering and shading and different tones and edges that you couldn't get at it if you were doing it in one go. The only way to create that is with the time, you know.
Well, you know, it's not like when if you're painting on canvas too. You're tattooing skin, you're making artwork in skin, and every client has different skin types. They heal different.
Yeah, some are harder than others, and some are fucking way easier than others, and yeah.
You have also people who have darker colored skin.
Yeah.
How do you work with dark colored skin?
I guess just I try to simplify the design right from the word go and work on bigger, simpler compositions, and then you know, yeah, just not fucking around with too much depth of field and stuff. You know, just keep it simple, you know, because then you're still going to be striking and it's still going to be beautiful, you know. The pastier someone is, the more, you know, the more I tend to you know, if I look at somebody and go, man, this dude's going to be pasty forever, then I know that I can kind of get a bit more crazy with the depth and the, you know, the atmospheric sort of changes and stuff. Like then I can step stuff back further and make it more dull, and you know, it's going to hold up in time. But if somebody's got, you know, reasonably dark skin, then it's very limiting, you know, with the value range that you can actually work through, you know.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I just think right from work, you know, set the composition up to succeed, you know. Yeah.
Is there something that you've not yet tattooed that you really want to tattoo? You haven't had that opportunity?
Oh no, I've been pretty lucky to, you know, but I've got a lot. Yeah, I think there's a lot more crazy, you know, kind of big sort of storytelling stuff I'd like to do with, you know, and really push those narratives and, you know, work on leveling up I guess just I guess when I look at my work, some of them I know they're good, but I know the composition could be a lot better. So I want to focus on improving and taking that composition to the next level, and you know, telling more stories, you know.
Okay, yeah, I remember previously you said, you know, your wish was to do that one whole body suit telling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've got some half body suits that I'm working on designing and stuff. I'd like to put some designs out there to the world to be like, hey, you know, who wants this? Kind of like Flash, but for body suits, you know. Yeah. You know, preloaded stuff where I can kind of be like, I've got this composition, who wants it, you know, rather than but I do, you know, I do love telling stories for people though, you know. So I really like it when people come to me and say, hey, you know, I want this, and I work with them on the design, you know.
Okay.
Like there's this one.
How often do you have paper and pencil in hand?
I always do a sketch first, you know. I do a sketch first, and with my clients to show them, and then we work from there into the photographs and stuff. But I'll show you this one. So, you know, have you seen this tattoo that I did? I'll see like that.
Yeah. I don't hear you. We've lost connection. We've lost connection. I don't hear you at all.
Oh.
Still don't hear you. No. You know what I'm going to do? Yeah. Okay. Nah, no.
Wait 2 minutes.
Yeah, peace.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Now.
Yeah. So that's a really. that tattoo is a really cool example because like when she came to me, she was like, just do whatever you want. I just want a back piece from you. I love your work. And I was like,
Really?
I was like,
Whatever you want.
I was like, I don't like doing that because, you know, I could pitch stuff to you all day long and you could be like, nah, not that. But anyway, she was genuinely like, just do whatever you want. So I got talking to her and I was like, okay, well, how did you get here to this point in your life where you get to get a back piece tattoo, you know, or you want to get this back piece? And she said, well, I've been a big fan of your work for a long time, but I couldn't afford to get one before. I actually I was a drug addict for 6 years, and I was a rat bag, and I had a pretty bad life, and but now I'm sober, and I have a beautiful young family, and I have a great job, and I want to get a back piece from you to celebrate that. So I did this little sketch in my notebook, and I was like, what if there's this woman and it's you, and she's wearing a cloak, so it's not really focused on your face, and she's holding these 6 swords to represent the time that you lost, you know? And there's all these people clawing at you trying to help, but they can't help because when you're an addict, you have to help yourself, right? And you have to
Sure.
hit rock.
Because if
You have to
you're
hit
an
rock.
alcoholic or a drug addict, you're never going to get clean until you realize yourself, hey, I've got a problem.
Because everybody's enabling you by helping, right? And then so we do this picture, and it's going to look like Caravaggio did it, but you know, you're going to be holding these swords to represent the time. Everyone's clawing at you to help, and then at the bottom there's these cherubs, and one of them's blowing on a trumpet to sort of represent like when a cherub's blowing on a trumpet, it could represent somebody dying or somebody being like born or reborn, right? So it's kind of like this rebirth, right? So that whole composition, people look at it and they're like, oh, what's this reference from? And they think it's like some old Renaissance painting, but I'm like, no, that's about addiction, you know? So like my whole thing is like, I really like to tell stories for people, you know, and like, but they look a certain way because of my influences, you know? It looks like,
You're well spoken throughout this whole video here. You're a very well spoken person.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, so I guess you know,
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're okay. You're okay. I guess the point is like, you know, like you got to be good at you got to be good at all of the things. So I had to learn how to be a storyteller, you know, and I had to learn how to be a good tattoo artist and an applicator, but I had to learn about fine art, and I had to learn about art history, and I had to learn about everything enough to be able to get what was in my head out and to show people, you know. So there's a lot of studying and a lot of time and a lot of like just being critical and being honest, like, you know, how good a job are you really fucking doing, you know? And I did that to myself for a long time, you know, and I'll keep doing it. Yeah. I'll keep pushing myself.
How old was this woman?
30, maybe.
30-ish, yeah.
But we've been doing that for 7 years. She probably was in her late 20s when we started it. So, yeah, because COVID got in the way, right? But we started that tattoo 7 years ago. It took 40 days. Yeah, it took 40 days to do that tattoo.
Okay, I guess you learned a lot when you were doing that tattoo.
Yeah, for sure. You know, the whole top half of it's a lot older than the bottom half. We only just done we finished that tattoo 1 week before the show.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
It was stressful as shit. But and then she was here on the opening night of the exhibition. We had all of those guys here standing around in the nude too, which was pretty cool. Yeah.
Excellent.
And at the closing night as well, they're all going to be here. A lot of my clients are going to be here, stood around for everyone to get to see the work in person. Because the work looks a lot different in person than it does in the photographs. Obviously, because the photographs are black and white, you know. So, but I think it's important for, you know, people to see the work. It's hard to show people the work in person, you know.
Did you do the photography all yourself?
Yeah. I photographed everything to create the reference, and I photographed all the show myself.
Okay. Did you do that at home or did you have a
Some of it.
studio?
No, I took the photos in locations where they would look at home. Like some of the photos are in the water, some of the photos are in the forest.
Okay.
That photo of her is in the penthouse of a big fancy hotel. I took the photo. I wanted her photo to look really elegant, like she was like sleeping in bed. I didn't want it to be like sexy. I wanted it to be beautiful, and elegant, and then I'll show you a cool thing in this one. Hopefully we don't break up when we move around.
That's okay.
So,
Well, it's getting recorded on your side, so
you see the mountain?
yes.
And you see the mountain in the background up the top?
Yeah. That's the Matterhorn, right? I'm joking.
the mountain in the tattoo is the same mountain in the photograph, because it was at my house. But yeah, so that was cool. Like
You're
there's a lot of,
surrounded by mountains.
yeah, I put a lot of thought into like into the photographs composition as well, like how they would look. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Obsessed over it, just I wanted the photos to be perfect, but and I wanted the photos to be their own thing too, not just be. There was a lot of talk of like, so rather than the photo just being a photo of a tattoo against a wall, I wanted the photos to be their own piece of art in a way, their own separate thing. Because yeah, it's hard to the tattoos I think look better in person. The tattoos look better in person because they fit around the body and you can really like look around and see it. But
right.
But
yeah,
but
sure. You can't see that in the photograph.
But how often do you actually really get to show somebody, your tattoo work? Like, because it's such a private thing, it's such a personal thing. And even when you do, even say if somebody took their shirt off and showed you their back piece, you'll look and be like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. But you won't study it. You won't spend time like kind of thinking about the narrative because it's private and it feels uncomfortable for people. Not everyone, like we're probably used to it, but that's been a cool thing with the exhibitions, given people a chance to like sit there on a bench and like study these tattoos, like and really think about like what they're about, and what's the story we're trying to tell here, and the emotion and the narrative and all those important things.
Are there information plaquettes, or is there something written underneath written about the stories?
No, we just have one little pamphlet that has a bit of basic information saying that we made everything here from scratch and, like posed all of the scenes. And I haven't dived into the narratives of each piece because I think it's important for people to be able to look at it and make up their own, what do you think about, It's like when you go to the museum or you go to an art gallery, it's about giving people the opportunity to look at it and make their own. Yeah.
Everybody, art, like you said earlier, art is objective. One person can look at the Mona Lisa and say, "Wow, that's absolutely beautiful," and another person say, "Kind of looks like shit to me."
Yeah. That's it.
Well,
and people come in here and do that. Some people come in and say, "Oh, everything's very dark, very evil," and I'm like, "Well, no, none of it's evil. It's all actually like kind of it's uplifting, the one with the bishop is about women fighting, these women and these people fighting back against the power and the greed of that, that
the horses, the look in the horses' faces, and there's a lot of this positivity. That I don't see any negative darkness in that picture.
Yeah, it's funny, but some people will, people will take from it what they will, with that one with the manhunt with the horses and the dogs. Somebody was like, "Oh, why are the dogs all doing bad? It looks like the dogs are evil." And I was like, "No, the dogs are fighting back and fucking up the people that have been killing them for sport for years." my idea with that piece was because Peter Paul Rubens did, the wolf hunt, the fox hunt, the hippo hunt, the crocodile hunt. He did all of these paintings of all these rich assholes killing all these animals for sport, just to satisfy their own ego. So when I got an opportunity to recreate it, I was like, I'm going to do the manhunt. I'm going to have the wolves and the hunting dogs killing these rich assholes to teach them a fucking lesson, that, they shouldn't be taking advantage of these fucking, if you're out hunting, you better be hunting to catch some food to survive, if you're just hunting
That's
for sport,
exactly it. No sport hunting.
yeah, sport hunting for fucking pussies. That's what that tattoo is about. Yeah.
Well, when I was young, I used to do a lot of hunting.
Yeah.
Outside of New York, New York State has some wonderful forests and mountains. We used to go deer hunting. Used to duck hunting in Long Island. Oh, it was free. We used to go out on a little long flat rowboat, 14-footer, November, October, windy. Duck hunting was horrible.
Yeah.
It was cold. It was fun. But
cool,
I was out there, anything that I killed, I was eating.
Yeah.
I wasn't killing it for sport.
No, there's an element of like primal kind of sportiness to it, but like I think that the message there is like, we got to honor, like it's about honoring that, if you're out there hunting, yes, it's fun because it's a primal thing that we should do as people, I think, but we shouldn't be doing it just to satisfy our own ego. We should be doing it for food or for
protection.
Yeah, protection or for sustainability, for like rather than buying shit off some big corporate fucking horrible company, we can go out and kill it and gather that food ourselves. It's a special thing to get to do, But yeah. Anyway,
the real reason behind it.
That's what that tattoo is about. And all of these tattoos, I try to give them as much love and special meaning as possible because this is my life's work. I want to create a legacy and a body of work that can last the test of time, and that that's what it's about for me.
How often do you see your old work? How many of your clients with your big work, how many of them live close by? How often do you get to see it? Because that's always the thing that sucked for me is you do your artwork and you do your tattooing and you never see it again. It walks away.
Yeah, that's what these photos are about, man. It was about I can hang these up and people can admire them and so as a tattoo artist, no matter how fucking good you get, and no matter how much of it you create a body of work or a legacy and great pieces, there's going to come a point where all those people die, and their tattoos die, and then you die, and then that's it. Your legacy is gone. So I'm urging people to do this and to try and take on like what I'm trying to achieve here is a beautiful way of making my tattoos archivable. These photo rag prints, that one of the manhunt that's 9 foot tall, and in 500 years that that'll still be around if somebody takes care of it, and maybe if we're lucky one day it ends up in a museum. That's my dream. And if I hadn't taken these photographs and seen this exhibition through to its zenith, to its
no one ever see it again.
No one ever see it again. They die, we die. Maybe people go, oh yeah, remember that guy Matt? He did that tattoo or whatever. But like now we have tangible, like physical artwork where the photograph becomes its own thing, and people can buy that print and put it in their house,
I own a tattoo museum.
Yeah.
I have publications and books. They're 350 years old.
Yeah.
some of the books, some of the pictures in there, they were printed with wood carvings.
Hell yeah.
There was later, I have one beautiful, beautiful picture. And it was from New Zealand.
Yeah.
There's a Swiss artist from Zurich, and he did this copper plate engraving. And back in 1800s, there was no copy machines, nothing where you could make something smaller or bigger. And I can only imagine that this guy needed a magnifying glass in order to reproduce the scene. And it's a scene of natives tattooing in a tent. The detail is great, and
amazing. Yeah, it's super cool.
The picture is about as big as what you're looking at on your screen right now. It's maybe about 10 by 12 centimeters wide.
Yeah.
I'm going to send you a picture.
Yeah. Send me a picture, please. That sounds incredible.
Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. But like I said, I have publications of pictures that are going back to the 1600s, 1700s.
Yeah, wicked. And that's fucking amazing, And I think, so like with the technology we have these days, with these amazing cameras and this beautiful paper, I just think it's common sense to stop using your phone and your Instagram and start take some proper fucking photographs of your work and be proud of it, like that's what it's about, Yeah, for me, a big part of it.
Do you think a phone camera can replace a real camera?
No, fuck no. They sensationalize things. They remove detail. They add the other parts. Like I take a photo on my iPhone and it's fine. I'll post it on my Instagram or whatever, and that's cool. But like when you see and this is the problem because I could take a photo now on my iPhone of this print and send it to you, and you'll be like, oh, that's a big print. But if you've seen this thing in person, like the detail and the value scale and
and what it's printed on,
it's fucking crazy. And this is almost the sad part of unless you get to see this exhibition in person, you'll never fucking understand that. Like the amount of how crazy these pictures are in person, just fucking they're just fucking they're just awful.
You want to travel with the exhibition.
Yeah, I want people to see it, man. I want people to get to see it in person because you look.
Where are the logistics going to be like something like that? You have any clue of what the logistics would be?
It'll just be, it's just expensive, it's just. Is that what you mean? We need to build a crate. We need to get support to get that around the world and get a gallery on board to set it all up and and man, that's the dream though, right? If we can get it get it all packaged up nice and post it over to America and get a gallery on board to help me show this to the world, then sick. And then man, imagine seeing these pictures in a really old building in Europe somewhere, like framed up in the big alcoves, that'd be fucking cool, man.
It would be good representation, something like that, in an old church or there's especially in Switzerland, because Switzerland hasn't been involved in any of the wars, so nothing's been bombed.
Yeah, perfect.
Most everything in Germany, it's been all rebuilt.
Yeah,
most of it. The Americans came in, they just flattened the cities with bombs.
Yeah.
Switzerland is a pearl in the middle of Europe. Never been involved in a war, but because Switzerland has the banks and they kept the money from both sides.
Yeah.
They kept all the stolen artwork, but they were taking money from both sides. So yeah, it's nice to be neutral, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, the I can. How long did it take you to get all the stuff from your home into the space where you're at now? You had a 4-hour drive each way.
Oh no, it was all here. It was all printed in Auckland. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. We used there's a really there's a company in New Zealand called PCL, P for Peter, C for carrot, L for Lacey. Like that. PCL does really amazing printing work, and they have all the best equipment in the world, and so they are the people that they helped me a lot because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I'm a tattoo
Okay.
artist. I'm not a photographer. I'm a tattoo
Yeah.
artist. So I took the photos and then I went to PCL and they helped me to, they were like, this is the
This is
paper.
my first. This is my first live interview.
Yeah.
I've 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 never done this before.
Oh, really?
I've never worked on a tattoo artist magazine before. Um, I came into this because Crash, the owner of Tattoo Artist Magazine and Seventh Society Publishing, we started this whole idea of I bugged him for years to bring TAM back,
Yeah.
and he had a bad taste in his mouth, and he was not into it. And a year and a half ago, I convinced him, okay, well, listen, let me do this, and you take a back seat and just help give me some guidance. Well, his dad got real sick, was hospitalized, multiple operations. His dad just passed away 3 weeks ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I've never done this before. I'm a tattoo artist.
Yeah.
I've been tattooing, since 1983 professionally,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah.
I have behind my house and surrounding my house, I have a vineyard where I grow grapes and for making wine. I've never been a Winzer, a winemaker. I learned everything, you know, just by doing, and somebody, asking the guy who makes my wine, just asking him what I should do. I've never done that before.
Yeah. Yeah. You need help, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but this is my first interview.
Ah, cool,
So,
man.
yeah,
Oh, well, I'm honored.
you've
Thank you
been
very
a
much.
great you've been a great guest.
Cheers, man. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would, you know, when I was watching your postings of when you were fishing on the boat, oh damn, I was so jealous.
Oh, you got to fly over here sometime. Check it out.
Just to go fishing.
Yeah, just to go. Yeah, that'd be good. I would love to
Yeah.
have.
I was looking at all that and it's like, yeah, it's nice out there. It's nice out there.
Yeah, it is beautiful. Yeah, yeah. We're very lucky in New Zealand, but well, and I'm sure you too, where you live, it sounds beautiful over there.
It is. It's nice. Listen, going back to the exhibition. I want to stay on the subject. Um, what kind of a space do you think you require that something that would do something right? You're in a huge space right now, 400 square meters.
Yeah,
Could you do it with 200 or 250?
yeah, you could do it with 200. Yeah, with because this building's got a lot of windows, So
Okay.
I think if you had somewhere that had, as long as there was the wall space, like I think if you had about 200 square meters, you could pull it off. Yeah. So, but it's more about the feeling, like I'm a big believer in like a space feeling right, and when we've selected tattoo shops in the past, it's about walking in and does it feel creative? Does it feel fun? Does it feel like you could live in here and create art? And
Okay.
when
Let
we
me
walk,
cut you short. the whole time we've been talking, we've had those bright fluorescent lights. Do you think there's another atmosphere that would enhance
Oh yeah,
your?
the lighting's terrible in here. The building's beautiful, but the light, like, it's not an art gallery, you know. Like, if we could put this in a real gallery with real gallery lighting, that would be really cool, man. Because you'd be able to appreciate it even more. You know, this is the only problem with this space really, is that the lighting is not very good. But you know, it's just,
was,
I'm working with what I've got. You know, so you know,
was the sun
I
was the
couldn't
sun
I couldn't
any?
afford. No, the sun was fine because of the building position, but I couldn't afford any. You know, when we got to the lighting part, I was broke, and I was just like,
Okay,
I'm out. You know, so you know, if we could do it again and we had the money, for sure I would have done proper, you know, gallery lighting, but it's just fucking so expensive, you know. So yeah, it's just unfortunate. But you know, it still looks great. So I'm not disappointed. It is what it is, you know.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah. No, but I was just saying, what can you imagine
Mm.
as type of light?
I guess like a you know, in a dream
Porch
scenario.
lighting, like coming into a cathedral?
Yeah, a beautiful old building with little spotlights lighting up the work, but in a dim room where people could come in and quiet and just look and enjoy the work in a really old, powerful, beautiful building. You know, and this building that we're in is 100 years old. It's beautiful. It's a, you know, it's a beautiful Art Deco building. But you know, I want to go in a 300-year-old, 400-year-old building and do the same thing. You know, that'd be pretty special. Yeah,
That would be pretty cool. Yeah,
yeah.
that would be
So,
pretty cool.
so if
Yeah,
anyone's got the connections, send me an email. Yeah,
yeah. You know, actually, I do have, because I do a museum here in Switzerland.
yeah,
I've got quite a few really good connections, especially
yeah,
in Basel. In Basel, there's over 50 museums.
yeah.
Mm.
Well, yeah. I'd be honored to bring it over and do that eventually in the next few years. But yeah, hey,
Have you been to Paris before?
I've been to Paris once. Yeah, it's incredible. It's just
Did
fucking
you go to
mind.
the Louvre?
Yeah, it just blew my fucking socks off. I
Yeah, I
got
was
to
just about to say, how many hours did you spend there? The
oh,
whole day?
by all day, but like, by midday, I couldn't even take it in anymore. You know, like my brain was full, my eyes were tired. You know, like so. I think you need to go spend a week there and just, you know, go home and have a nap at lunchtime and then go back again. And you know, like it. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
so much. It's so much to
it's
take in.
really, there's just, it's too much.
It's a yeah. It's just yeah. You can't even. It's just this yeah overload, but incredible. What an insane fucking building. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh, it's just you know, aren't we so lucky to have things like that in the world? You know, like yeah. But yeah, this is yeah. I hope yeah, and that's it. You know, seeing that and you know, I've got so much love and admiration for those painters and those sculptors and all of that work and that they've done. That you know, I hope as a society people can get there with tattooing and realize that you know what we're doing is important too. You know, and our art is you know our art form is really special and it's really beautiful. You know, and hopefully one day we can have our own museum. You know,
What do you
because
have planned? What do you have planned for next year? You going
um,
anywhere? You doing any conventions or?
I'm not gonna travel much, but then I think 2027 I'll probably come over for the or maybe late 2026. I'll come over to Europe for Gods of Ink. Not the I'm gonna miss Germany this year. But Mickey said that he was going to do another one somewhere else.
Okay.
Uh, I can't remember where. I'll probably come over for that one. It might have been. Fuck, where did he say? Hang on, let me have a look.
Gods of Ink is in Frankfurt.
Yeah, Mickey. Um, We were messaging the other day, and Mickey said everything is good here. Switzerland, the Lagoon, Lugano.
Lugano. It's in the Italian part of Switzerland. It's beautiful down there. There's palm trees in Switzerland there. Yeah, they got palm trees. No shit.
So I think when he does that, I'll probably go to that one. Yeah.
Okay.
And then so if I hopefully I can but then in 2027 I guess if I can swing it and get all the work over there, and I'll come do the convention and then hopefully have an exhibition. But it'll just be about depending on whether we can get the financial support to make it happen, because I can't afford to keep doing it myself, unfortunately. But yeah.
Now, how much space do you need to put that in? You need a whole container?
No, you don't need that much room. What's that light doing? You don't. No. Like because most of it you can roll it up and put it in a tube, and then there's just all the smaller works. It's probably about 2 cubic meters or something like that.
That's not a lot.
No,
that shouldn't be too difficult.
Yeah, it won't be too bad. Yeah, that'll be fine. And then just getting the all the hanging and the lighting and the rent and the organizing and the staff and it's a lot of work. You know what it's like, man. You've done this shit before, so yeah. Hey, I kind of need to wrap this up because I got to.
Okay, that's cool. Because you're probably getting hungry too.
Yeah, I got to get my wife for dinner. Yeah, so 7 o'clock over here, and we're just wrapping up. But yeah. Well, thank you so much, and man, I hope that Tam can get back to doing a something in print, because it would be an absolute dream come true to have my very own tattoo artist magazine with me in it. That would be
something in your hand. Yeah,
something I could give to my son. That would be fucking cool, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
See how you go.
This is actually it's been a great experience just listening to you. You're a good storyteller. You're a very good storyteller.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
How old is your son?
He's 15, so yeah.
You got your hands full.
Yeah, so hopefully he'll tattoo as well. That'd be pretty cool. But I'm not forcing him. I'll wait and see if he wants it. He's starting to talk about it, so that'll be cool. But like I said, I'll tell him. He's got to have both feet in. He's got to be all in if he wants to do it. So I told him to think about it for another year first. Yeah.
Okay, Matt, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, man. You're amazing, and I really appreciate you reaching out to me. It's dream come true, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. I guess if you have any more questions or anything, or any gaps, or you need tell me what pictures you need. And yeah.
Well, we're gonna be in touch. Do you use WhatsApp?
Yeah, I got WhatsApp.
Okay, send me your number.
Okay, yeah.
Okay? And we'll get through on WhatsApp. That's the best thing.
Okay, sounds good, bro.
Listen.
Right.
Say hello to your wife. Give her a big hug.
Yep.
And tell her that if it wasn't for her, you would not be where you are today.
Yeah, she knows. Yeah.
Good. Listen.
All right.
Good, bro.
I'll tell her. Thank you, bro. Take care. Bye.
Bye.